Now we're live. Welcome everybody. We're going to get started here in a couple of minutes. Today we are talking, because we just had a really important presidential election, we wanted to talk about animals and how they keep their societies in line. We're going to talk about animal dominance and how animals figure out who is in charge. So I am going to show you guys a picture, and while we're waiting just another minute or so, I want you to answer the question that's going to be on your screen. Really, I might have to have you click.
It's there now.
So I'm going to get started. If you guys are watching this live, you can go ahead and put comments. I would love to know who is here so I can say hi to you. And you also can, Mackenzie. Oh, hey, Mackenzie, I'm glad you're here, Kenzie. And then hi, Danny. Good to see you guys on. If you guys have questions, you can put it into the comments. You can also add comments if you're watching this on replay. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, we can answer any comments or questions that you have. So please make sure you interact with us. We miss seeing your faces, and so this is the best way for us to interact. Let's take a look at these two pictures, and in the comments, think about who you think are the dominant individuals in both pictures, and you can put those in the comments. So on the top one, we have a couple wolves, and the bottom one, we have some primates, and you guys can pick which one do you think is the dominant in both of those pictures. So animals work cooperatively, and they usually have a single leader, and they have many ways that they find who's going to be in power. Just like we got done, and we're not done yet, I should say, but we had a political election and we're still counting votes, but that's how we as a nation decide who's in charge of our nation. But in the animal world, it might be a little bit similar or maybe a lot different. So on the top picture, we have two wolves. And Kenzie says that A is the most dominant, and I'm wondering why, Kenzie, you think that. Thanks for answering.
Danny too.
And Danny thinks that as well. Maybe you guys will notice the one wolf, B, is laying on the ground, sticking its tongue out, and wolf A, its ears are sideways, it's showing its teeth. Both of those behaviors of how their teeth look and their ears are showing you that they are being dominant. And the submissive wolf B, ears are back, showing its belly, licking. Those are all behaviors showing that they are submissive. So yes, Danny and Mackenzie, you are 100% correct. And the bottom picture, these are monkeys. You'll notice that 1 and 3 are grooming monkey 2, and that shows you that if you are being groomed by other monkeys, you are probably in charge. So I know at my house, I love when my daughter will brush my hair and she'll paint my nails, and she'll basically pamper me, and I feel very important and in charge when she's doing those things. So if you picked monkey number 2 as being the most dominant, you are correct. Hi, Francis. Thanks for logging on. So we're going to talk about how animals decide who is in charge. And a more sciencey way of saying this is by looking at animal dominance hierarchies. On the next slide, I'm going to show you what that actually means. So dominant animal is the one that's in charge. And you guys might think about somebody in your family who might be the one in charge. In my family, it's usually me because I'm the bossy mom. But animals also have a dominant, the higher rank. In other words, the other guys, critters, are submissive. Remember, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. And the word hierarchy, it's kind of a big word. It means that animals, how they order themselves. So if you look at the picture on the left, we have Harry and Bob and Joe. No, we did not pick those names, so they're kind of perfect for these little chickadees. You probably can tell that Harry is on top, and so he is the dominant. And then Bob would be under him. And then Joe is at the bottom, and he is submissive. And then here's a more succinct line from Harry to Joe. The picture on the right, also wolves are organized by a dominance hierarchy. The alpha wolf, which I'm sure you guys have heard of alpha before, they're the most dominant. And then we have the beta wolf. And then omega wolves are submissive to the beta and the alpha wolves. Dominance hierarchies are common in social animals and found in humans as well. And you guys probably will recognize this. So if you are at school, some of you have been at school, some of you are waiting to go back to school, but in your school we have a hierarchy as well. So for example, the principal of your school is the most dominant person. And then there are the teachers, so they're probably the betas like we talked about with the wolves. And then you students are at the bottom, so you guys are like the omegas in the wolf hierarchy. I have some slides here. We have a lot of cats at our house, and we often think that dogs run the house. But at our house, it's actually the cats. A lot of the times, the cats will fight within their community, but also the dogs are afraid of the cats. On the first one, it says, okay, I think it's fair to say the cat has established a dominance. You can see that the cat is making the dog drag him around on a parachute. And then this one says, the vet said we may see signs of Spunky exerting his dominance over the kitten. And that happens at my house all the time. The cat doesn't like shove the other cat's face in the litter box, but he will sit in a position where he can intimidate the other cats. So look for these things at your house too and see if you notice which animals are dominant or submissive at your house. And I'm a big believer in doing science even in your house. So if you can notice things like that, that increases your science abilities. So we're going to talk about female dominance. Animals organize themselves in many ways. In some species, the males are dominant, but in many species, females are actually the most dominant. All of these species that I'm showing you on the slide have female dominance inside their groups. You can see that it includes insects and mammals and even marine mammals. Hi from Gavin and Hannah and Lincoln and Rhett. Thanks for logging on, you guys. We're going to talk about a few of these species today. We are going to talk about hyenas and Harris hawks and orca whales or killer whales. The first one I'm going to talk about is Harris hawks. I was going to have Stan, our Harris hawk, be here with me, but he broke a piece of his equipment yesterday, so we aren't able to have him perched on my hand, so I apologize for that. I think he probably did it on purpose so he could just stay out and chill out and not have to be on stage, but I promise to bring him again another time. But our stand that we have here is a Harris hawk. They look just like this. Typically, they live down in the desert area, and I always tell people I'm teaching that they're my favorite predator or bird of prey anyway, and I'll tell you why in a second. Let's see, they live in groups of around 5 hawks, and they hunt in these groups and they will have a dominant and a submissive individual within their groups. This is a picture of them stacking on top of a cactus because in the desert it's pretty flat, and they use that so they can look out farther out. But the reason these guys are my favorite bird of prey is because they actually are led by a female. She's the female's in charge of hunting, and she will get the most food to eat. I've heard that when they hunt together, Harris hawks are twice as effective as any other bird of prey because they do hunt in these packs. Remember, if you guys have any questions or comments or are just popping on, make sure you say hi. And same thing if you're watching this in the replay, make sure you are saying hi and asking questions because we'd love to answer questions for you guys. So the next one we're going to talk about is a baboon. And no, I don't have a real baboon, but I do have an example of a baboon. Not an example. I have a mounted baboon. And I can't see this. Let me see if I can. Hold on a second. Technology is getting the best of me. Oh, it's a delay. How's it look, Lily? Good. Okay. So I'm just going to hold this baboon here. These guys are primates, which you remember learning about with Lily a few weeks ago. There are 5 species of baboons, and they live in a group called a troop. And these troops can have up to 300 members. Lily thought, with her expertise and knowledge, that this baboon was either a female or a young male, but we were going with female because of her size. These guys are pretty ferocious, I thought, when I was looking close. They have canines, although she's missing one of her canines, but that they are pretty aggressive hunters. I'm going to put that back down now. So like I mentioned, they live in a troop of about 300 members. When the members of a baboon sets off for food, several members will move in different directions. So kind of like when school gets out and we open the doors, all kids run everywhere. They will go in different directions, and then other baboons decide who they want to follow. So they look for the baboon that's the most confident. So if that baboon's walking around and looking cool and confident and knows exactly where they're going, the other baboons will start to follow that one. And maybe you know what I'm talking about. So if you ever seen somebody who thinks or acts like they know what they are talking about or doing, that you might just follow along with them because they seem confident. May not always work out best, but baboons do that. They look for the baboon within their troop, then they follow that one that's the most confident. So the next one we're going to talk about is the spotted hyena. And we have this picture up here that's showing the hyena that's laughing. This is the one where people most common recognize as a hyena that has that kind of eerie laugh that you might think of. The cool thing about them is they're also female dominant. So the girls run the pack. Females are the ones in charge of hunting and finding food and are bigger than the males. Females will stay in charge, will fight to stay in charge if needed. And you can see on the bottom picture here, females will form groups and team up against anyone who disagrees with the female in charge. You guys, we talk a lot about bullying in schools and things. This kind of reminds me of bullying, but in the animal world, it's pretty important that they have that adaptation. They use force as well as friendships to get and stay in charge of a hyena clan. And I made the mistake, they are not a pack, they are a clan. Many families will live together in one larger hyena group with the royals at the top. And you guys may have heard of the word royal, like the king and queen, but that's who's on top of their group. Each family member is ranked for certain levels of access for food and resources. So depending how high up you are, you will get food first, or you might get stuck getting kind of leftovers. The alpha females and their cubs get the best food and social support from their kin, and that generally ensues that females are healthier so they can produce more offspring. A cycle that maintains social rank leaves males in second status. So all you strong girls watching this, remember this, hyenas keep that top status. So I'm going to show you a fish now. So this doesn't have any sound. I just wanted to have one swimming in the background. This is a 3-spined stickleback. It's a small fish in the northern hemisphere. Looks for physical appeal. Oh, sorry. Oh my goodness, I cannot. I should not read words. Hello. Okay. Anyway, so we've been talking a lot about how they animals decide what groups or who's going to be in charge of their group. Well, this fish looks for which fish looks the best. So you guys may have heard of like a beauty competition. These guys are a little bit like that. Although they're not looking for the most beautiful fish, they are looking for the one that is plump and they have smooth, disease-free skin. Because if they can survive well and be plump and their skin is smooth and disease-free, that means that they have good traits to help them survive. Studies also found that once a school of these fish finds an attractive leader, it will follow the rest until the rest of the group grows along, which is a good thing sometimes, but sometimes that could backfire because the school follows a less desirable fish. It might lead them astray. And our last species today is the orca or killer whale. They are a kind of dolphin that lives in the ocean. And they're cool because there's lots of reasons they're cool, but the females can live up to 80 years in the wild, and the males tend to only live to be about 30 years old. I have a good friend who I grew up with who studies the southern resident pods near Seattle. They call them the southern pod because they come back every year to follow the returning salmon. Whales communicate by sound, and the grandmother, the oldest whale, leads the pod. These guys are called pods. We have a video we're going to watch here in a second, but the reason that she gets to be in charge, grandmother gets to be in charge, is because she has been around the longest and knows historically where the best hunting areas are. So she'll come back where those salmon are migrating or coming to spawn, and she'll come back and show the other whales where to hunt. And we're going to show you how cool these grandmothers are right now.
Off the rugged coast of the Pacific Northwest, pods of killer whales inhabit the frigid waters. Each family is able to survive here thanks mainly to one member, its most knowledgeable hunter, the grandmother. These matriarchs can live 80 years, while most males die off in their 30s. The killer whales
Having some technical difficulties. So that's pretty fascinating. It's hard because sometimes orca whales, it's hard for us to see because they live in the ocean, and we here in Spokane don't really have an ocean over here. There's a lot of information if you want to do any research. But like I mentioned before, you can just study animals even in your house. So how your cats and dogs. Just remember that we females can be great leaders too. And we would love to see or hear any things that you guys are noticing about how animals are ranking themselves, whether it's at your house or maybe you're out driving and you see a herd of deer and trying to decide who is in charge and how you decided that. So we're hoping that you guys are being naturally curious. I know sometimes when you're driving the car with your parents or someone in your family, it might be easy to look at your phone and watch movies or whatever, but it's really important to pay attention to the world around you. It makes you smarter, for one, and makes you be able to make more observations and be kind of curious how things work. So we are very interested in your guys' observations. So if you see things that have to do with anything we've ever talked about in any of our lives or our YouTubes, we would love to have you guys tell us things you observed or noticed, because then we find out more stuff too. So we're going to end here with some of these humans. Maybe you guys recognize some of these really important female leaders around the world. Most recently, we lost this lady, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Most of these women are leaders of other countries. It's interesting right now, we do have a woman running for vice president, and if she's elected, then that would be the first female within that role. But women make great leaders, and we've been learning a lot about animals in the wild that have women that run their packs and pods and herds. So I'm going to end with this comment. Often mammals actively choose to follow an animal that has more knowledge and expertise accumulated over its lifetime. So when we tell you that your parents know things or your grandparents know things or someone in your family might know things because they're experienced, it's important to think about listening to them, because maybe sometimes we parents do know what we're talking about. And I'm going to look at my daughter right now and wink at her. But any more questions or comments out there, guys? As always, thank you to Tiffany, Lily, and Stella for throwing out comments and paying attention to the chat, and Lily for setting up my script and my awesome, I wish you guys could see the technology we have set up here. I do see a question coming in.
It's a comment.
Oh, there's a comment coming in.
People had issues with the sound.
Oh, so the sound, yeah, we had a hard time with the sound. Sorry about that. We will post that video on Facebook, and then we'll make sure we put it on our YouTube as well. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you for letting us know, though, because obviously we want to be able to fix those things. So we've been kind of kicking around the idea of what we're going to talk about next week. So make sure you're paying attention to our Facebook page about what our topic's going to be. But have a wonderful weekend, and thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Goodbye.
I got it.